What's up, the squad? Back with another video. I see the title's going down. Make sure you hit the like button, hit that subscribe button for me, please. Y'all see it in the title. Y'all see it right here. Definitely crazy. Y'all know there's been a lot of, a lot of frustration between, a lot of individuals, when it comes to a lot that's going on, especially, in Minnesota, but many other places. And it's definitely, insane of what's going on. Definitely insane. One thing about it, how I look at it, when it comes to a lot of these protesters and this, that, and the other, I truly feel as if, it's definitely important, to actually realize, it's really just, it's in a sense, common sense. I should definitely say it's definitely common sense. And what I mean by common sense is if this individual is legal, this individual is, where they're supposed to be at, this, that, and the other. It shouldn't be any more confusion after that. Like, let ICE agents do their job. Let law enforcement in general do their job and leave it alone. That's truly how I feel about it, and I don't understand how a lot of people aren't getting that whatsoever. Here it is right here, Greg Gutfield, explaining more so of the situation going on in Minnesota. Check it out.
Why would a mother of a young child, a widow, consistently participate in aggressive confrontations with law enforcement? Why did she feel emboldened to break the law in an endless theater of chaos? Swept up in the latest demonization narrative that eggs on illegal and stupid behavior. Don't blame ICE. She wasn't the target. They were. And it was believed by the people involved that it would be fine, that there would never be any consequences. It was all part of this mania that we've talked about that cuts across a whole bunch of issues, whether it's Trump, trans, BLM, Israel. The table is set with this manic hysteria where radicals believe that they gain leeway by branding the rest of us as an existential evil. This made me think about the Tide Pod Challenge. Do you remember that in 2017 when stupid teens were filming themselves eating Tide Pods and then they get poisoned? Do you know what Tide's response was? Use for washing, not eating. The point being, if you're going to eat Tide Pods, there's not much else we can do except tell you not to do it. The same here. We can tell you, don't break the law. Don't block traffic. Don't harass law enforcement every day and then flee the scene.
In other words, like I said, common sense would just follow directions. Follow directions. Literally on the packaging.
But if you do, wow, you definitely share responsibility in that. Just like the teen who films himself eating a Tide Pod. So you can investigate this shooting. Have at it. But it never would have happened if the situation had presented itself. And that is on the Democrats who willed it into being with rhetoric, the same kind of amplification of demonization that got Charlie Kirk killed and Donald Trump shot. But this is for different reasons. Their motivation is to gin up the activist base. They put targets on ICE. And then they blame ICE for defending themselves. Think about that. We can't play that game anymore. We are done with it. And we're not going to explain it to you. We're not going to explain to you why this is wrong. We don't have to. You're not going to find people hoax us anymore. We've been red-pilled by your lies. So we're no longer beholden to radical idiocy. If you want to block a street, if you want to hinder and harass law enforcement, that's your responsibility. If you had listened to me, some kid would still have his mother. But instead, you listen to people like Waltz.
Exactly.
The people who try to evade their responsibility by projecting their own guilt on other people.
One thing about it is that everything he said is completely right. And I completely agree with everything that Greg is saying here, because it truly just goes to show you that people aren't following directions. They're listening to Tim Waltz. They're listening to Ilhan Omar. They're listening to Keith Ellison. They're listening to many other people. You got Mayor Fry. They're listening to these individuals that's hyping them up and getting them out there. And the funny thing about this is that those same individuals hyping them up are the same individuals that's sitting at home and got millions of dollars in their bank accounts. Not only that, but you have these Somalians that's also not there protesting with them and got $1 million in their bank accounts, driving nice cars, jewelry, clothes, everything. And I truly find it very, very insane that people are literally out there protesting. And like what for? What for? For it just to lead to bad things. I'm telling y'all, it's definitely insane when it comes down to it. Even with even taking their kids, to these places. You literally have here Jessica Tarlov, like always, just completely insane to where Greg Gutfield, had to, say something. Of course, check it out.
Create the environment, and then you complain about the consequences. When you kick over a beehive, don't complain when the bees come after you.
Don't say that every single one of those
poke a bear, don't say, I can't believe the bear's chasing me.
You have a right to stand there and yell at
That's not what we were talking about. We're talking about you guys are deliberately creating an environment so that there is chaos. And when there is chaos, you go, oh my God, someone gets hurt. What do you expect in chaos?
You don't think that they're trying to create chaos?
Yes.
What they're the ICE officers.
These organizations desire chaos.
Going in and
how naive are you?
And it wouldn't be you wouldn't have this chaos.
The simple fact that Jessica Tarlov is literally sitting here and making it just, I truly cannot stand when individuals try to make up these excuses for the way that, these adults, so-called adults are acting. There's no reason for them to sit here and throw objects, to steal out of cars, to do this and do that, and for people to expect them to, and take them serious on the way that they're acting. I truly do not agree with a lot that I don't agree with any of them. Y'all know how I feel about protests. Y'all know how I feel about, all of it. And I truly don't agree with the way these individuals are acting at all. And I truly, can't stand the way that Jessica Tarlov is acting and what she's saying. Jessica Tarlov then posted ICE needs real reform now. That means real training, not 47 days. Actually going after people with convictions. No more show me your papers. So basically talking crazy, about the, these ICE agents. I look at the simple fact that, regardless, there are a lot of, more of law enforcement. There are people that actually that they are scared, to be law enforcement. And I'm not making up no excuse whatsoever, but I just feel like, people, it does need more. It definitely need more, of law enforcement out there. And I cannot blame ICE in the way that they're doing things, just for the simple fact that, and again, this is me just being real. I can't sit here and be mad on how and how they're doing things. I can't sit there and do that, because what they're doing is the right way. It's people out there when they're not supposed to be. You got them out there literally attacking. You got them assaulting. You got them stealing, and honestly just doing the most. And I truly can't put the blame on ICE. I mean, I can't. Just like anybody else, they have that right to defend themselves. That's it and that's all. This right here was what I've been talking about, all week. Sadly, there are, individuals that are bringing in, their babies and their toddlers out literally at midnight within these riots. And it's definitely sickening that they're doing this. Check it out.
Do these women... Are the kids in strollers? Or do they have them in like one of those little swings?
Sometimes they have them in strollers, but the other night I saw several small children just being walked around. And I mean, these are kids that are, this big.
Oh my God. And the fathers are dads there?
No fathers.
All right, so it's no dads, it's moms, and they're bringing kids. That's insane. And how cold is it? It's 9 degrees?
It's 9 degrees. It's bouncing between 8 and 9.
And it's definitely even more sickening, the simple fact that, fathers aren't there when it comes to, no, my baby is not going to be there. Fathers, I don't know if it's just fathers that's not in those kids' lives. I don't know what it is, but I feel like it's absolutely disgusting on the parent's part. I should definitely say it's definitely disgusting, especially the parent that is taking them around that environment with tear gas around, with just to have, in a sense, that excuse. Oh, well, they did this to my baby. That they did this. Why is your baby out at midnight? Better yet, why are you out? At midnight doing this. It's definitely sickening. I'll tell y'all, it's definitely sickening, and I'm honestly, you know, just tired of it, you know, of the bad things, you know, that are happening right now when you have an Ilhan Omar, Tim Walz, and, you know, many other individuals that's causing all of this. Check it out right here.
Don Lemon should be locked up. Him and the entire mob that he led. Because that's a crazy situation. And you guys already know that if it was a conservative who did this, that they all would already be in jail. But because it's a Democrat, it's a different situation, right? And this is exactly why I say that Donald Trump and his administration need to handle this shit and handle this shit now.
Exactly.
Because now they're going after churches, which we already knew was going to happen. This isn't about ICE. This isn't about immigration. It's about Democrats being hateful, hateful, and bigoted. So lock his up and lock every single one of them up. Start holding people accountable. This is ridiculous. Don Lemon should be locked up.
I'm not gonna lie. Definitely time, you know, to hold a lot of people accountable for their actions and what they've done, what they're constantly doing. You know, it's definitely time to hold people accountable. I definitely say. It's just insane to me, you know, that you have these individuals that's out doing this. And then you have Jessica Tarlov that is sitting there making up excuses, and she gets on there and lie and say this and say that. It's truly, you know, sad. You know, as she said, you know, of targeting churches. Got it right here. This is, I don't know what year this is. It's back then. This is not now that Tim Walz said this. I have to make that clear. Said I'm old enough to remember when Tim Walz gaslit the public, saying that ICE would raid churches. Instead, the very people he incited raided churches yesterday, which is pretty wild. Check out this right here.
I would fully expect, and we are preparing for, an influx of more agents, more of the very visible public theatrics of the raids, of the harassments, and you got faith leaders here. I would not put it past this administration to target midnight mass services amongst folks going to worship, because that's who they are. I would fully expect, and we are preparing for.
And as y'all know, individuals, this is Nicki Minaj. I'm sure y'all know the rapper Nicki Minaj shares a photo online of what appears to be the father holding his crying son as anti-ICE agitators stormed a Minnesota church during Sunday service. She captioned the image, which has been getting a lot of attention online. And as y'all see and as y'all know, the world is watching. The Star also posted Don Lemon, a former CNN actor, that honestly, I'm pretty sure that led these individuals. And I definitely feel like it's definitely, you know, sickening, you know, of having this. I've learned about Don Lemon. I only came across, you know, this Don Lemon once, probably a few times. I ain't gonna lie and say once, probably a few times when it comes to these videos. And I definitely say, seeing on how he is as a person, I truly see how sick and how nasty and disgusting, you know, he is. I'm telling y'all, one thing about it is that Don Lemon needs to see, you know, a jail cell for this. I've seen multiple videos of literally kids coming out of, you know, that church, you know, and how bad it was. Definitely insane, y'all. Check it out right here, Nancy Mace.
Under Governor Walz, I think what he is doing requires special attention from the President of the United States, from different federal agencies, not just for the amount of fraud, but for the violence that Governor Walz and other Democrats in Minnesota are inciting against law enforcement and ICE agents. And I believe that Governor Walz should be investigated for many things and probably prosecuted. I have many questions that demand many answers for the American people and for Minnesota. I mean, Minnesota deserves to know the truth, what their governor did, and more importantly, what he did not do, and what he may be involved in fraud-wise.
Definitely. I'm telling y'all, every last one of them, you know, that's constantly inciting this violence, constantly, you know, you still have this fraud. You have all these things going on, and it's definitely sickening, you know, that they're doing this. One thing about it, this Minneapolis guy tells it like it is. Y'all can find this at Juanita Broderick. Y'all can go find this, you know, on X. But this individual literally definitely laid it down. Check it out.
Hey, folks, the police chief of Minneapolis indicates that 24 of his cops have basically bailed on him. They quit. 18 of these cops are now working within the ranks of ICE. How ironic. But This is an example of what happens when you have corrupt leadership, you have a city that's lawless, and you got a weak-ass police chief that does not back your play. And what happens is good cops leave for better pastures. Good for them, and I hope to see more of them quit. Minneapolis, you are now a failed city.
Definitely.
Congratulations. This is Keith, the Law Enforcement OG. Oh, by the way, give me a follow, repost, and leave me a comment.
Y'all got it right here. This is @enforcement.og, and y'all can go find him. One thing about it is that I truly see it, and I start to notice, that it's definitely, wild, and I find it pretty, cool for the simple fact that those police officers left and went to be ICE agents because they seen what was actually needed. They're looking at, who's right, about the situation, and looking at, obviously who's wrong. And it's definitely sad that, it has gotten to this point. Like you said, it definitely is a failed city. That's how I would look at it. Got it right here. ICE and Border Patrol have arrested over 3,000 illegal aliens in Minnesota so far. And truly, love, that things are coming together a little bit. Just a little bit.
Jess announced tonight that they have arrested a total of some 3,000 illegal immigrants in Minnesota, including over the weekend several convicted of crimes such as homicide and assault. Meantime, several dozen protesters remain here at the federal building, protesting the actions of federal agents, but they are staying behind the newly erected barriers put here by the Hennepin County Sheriff's Department. It is a simple and effective so far measure that raises the obvious question: why didn't local law enforcement do this last week? Brett?
Exactly. Jonathan Hunt live in Minneapolis.
Definitely crazy, y'all. Definitely crazy. One thing about it, I don't want them to slow down. I want them to apply as much pressure as they can. I'm not even going to lie. One thing about it, not only are, ICE and Border Patrol are doing what they need to do, but you also have the National Guard rolling into Minneapolis. Everybody inside of this restaurant was definitely looking like, oh, wow. Because you see all of, armored trucks, and the individuals, literally the National Guard coming through. Definitely needed. And I can't wait. I can't wait. Me personally, I don't think I've ever been to Minnesota. I would want to. I would definitely want to. And I just feel like it's just one of those things that it needs to be fixed. Regardless, this is America. Would hate to see, a place like this just go down to the ground. Just like places, you got Illinois, you have New York, you have California. I hate to see that. I truly do. But one thing about it, I know Trump and the Trump administration is on it. Make sure y'all, just keep praying, especially for those individuals, especially for those babies and those toddlers. I'm praying that they're all right, they're okay, and that, they get, when it, CPS, whoever, gets involved, within that, because it's definitely insane that you bring a baby, a kid. I don't care if it's a 6, 7, 8-year-old, a 13-year-old, still shouldn't be bringing a child around that environment. It's truly sickening. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and definitely appreciate y'all. Much love, everybody. Catch y'all next one.